Hello everyone, Av here. I'm going to show you a scripted system that I wrote for Bioware's RPG called Neverwinter Nights. So first off, you can click on this to get some ship part tokens. So each of these represents a different part that you can add to your ship. Then you go to the shipwright station and you can add, let's start with the hull. And when we do this, you can see that the hull appears here in the sea. So the hull is basically the frame that everything else sits in. So then we add all of our other parts to the hull. So now that we've added all of our other parts onto the hull, we want to board our ship. So we do this by using the ship token on the PC that we want to invite on board our ship. So we'll go ahead and use it on ourselves, and then we will accept our own invitation onto the ship. Okay, so here we are on the ship. The ship is comprised of a number of stations. These correspond to the parts we just added to the ship. You can have more than one station of a given type. If there is, for example, more than one sail, and you click Man Sail, then you will just man the first unoccupied sail on the ship. Okay, so now we're going to lift up our anchor and set sail. We're pointing downwind, so this is going to, or approximately downwind, so this is going to cause us to kind of build up speed. So now we're sailing downwind at a decent rate. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is the helm. So there can only be one helm per ship, unlike other parts of stations, where you can have as many as you want, as long as you don't go over the weight capacity of your ship's hull type. So if we tell our helm to turn right, then what we can see is that our ship starts turning right. Because we have a good keel, it kind of converts our forward momentum into rightward momentum, but for a ship with a worse keel, what you would see is a lot of continued momentum where it continues to slide in the direction that it was traveling before. So the idea here is we'll turn around, but now we're heading upwind, so you don't get as good of an effect from your sails if you're heading upwind. So let's go ahead and set our helm back to straight and man our oars. So with oars you can get a little bit more, oh, I need to man the helm and then helm straight. Alright, so now we can man the oars. So with oars you can get a little bit more control and you're somewhat less dependent on the wind currents. And of course, in the full version of this, there will be a cooldown between how often you can switch stations. So it will be impractical to have one PC actually running between all of these different stations on the ship and operating everything. This will be less efficient than having a different person at each station. But for now, I just want to show you everything. And it's much more practical to do that if there's no cooldown. So we're heading back towards shore. And now we can lower our anchor, and I'll show you one more thing. So we also have weapons for our ship. So I'll go ahead and man the weapon that I added to this ship. And then the next thing I can do is load this weapon. And you can actually set your aim for the weapon to anywhere in 360 degrees in any arc from 0 to 90 degrees within the limits of the actual particular weapon. But there's also an auto-aim feature which just calculates the best trajectory. So at this distance, we need an arc of 6 degrees and an angle of 208 degrees to hit the target, which is that gnome over there. So let's go ahead and fire our weapon at our chosen target. And you can see that it arcs through the air and hits the target. But what if we were a little further away? So let's go ahead and lift up our anchor and move a little bit further away. So now we can man the weapon and load it. And then aim at the gnome. And what we should see is a much greater arc of the trajectory for this projectile. And that's exactly what we see. All right, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, this is a custom scripted system that I wrote for Bioware's RPG, Neverwinter Nights. And I ultimately hope to make it into a persistent world module, although that may take a great deal more work. As you can see, this is in a very, very early stage of development. Thanks again for watching.